Okay, and we're live. Well, Elizabeth, this is
There we
my
go.
Pure Studios' first podcast. Thank you so much for giving us the honor.
Yes,
This
of
is going
course.
to be interesting. Let's see how it goes. If audience, if anything goes wrong, I'm sorry. There's a little to no pre-production in this. The pre-production that we got is that we wanted somebody very knowledgeable about PPC because it's one of the main questions that we get asked a lot when we have our marketing calls. We create content. If some of you may not know, we are specialized in content from Share Studio, and we get a lot of questions about PPC. And we had to find, I would say, one of the best people that I know in the industry that does PPC expert, and that's Elizabeth. I met her at the Wizards of Ecoms, at Carlos Alores meetup here in Miami, Florida. So yeah, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for joining us today. This is I'm gonna try to keep it short. I'm usually the person who doesn't like very long podcast. I like let's keep it like just give me a lot of information the shortest amount of time possible so you can go ahead with my day. So that's the vision that I have for for this podcast.
Got it.
So yeah, just tell us tell us a little bit about who you are and why the viewers should trust what you're saying.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. Cool. Gonna qualify myself. So hi, I'm Elizabeth Green. I'm one of the co-founders of an Amazon advertising agency called Jungler. We help Amazon sellers run their ads. So full service as far as ads go. If you don't want to touch it, if you want someone else to come up with strategy, talk to us. As far as why you should listen to me, hopefully at this point I know what I'm doing. I feel like I've seen enough accounts. I'm still in the weeds myself. I like it. I like being able to have an ear to the ground and fingers in accounts still. I feel like that helps me give better advice because I've lived it. I've been there. I've seen it. So hopefully I can help you out with any of your questions and give you some better insights from somebody who's been in it all day, every day, more hours than I care to admit, probably.
How many accounts would you say? Obviously, I'm not going to ask you for a specific number, but how many accounts would you say you've managed or helped so far?
Yeah, so probably, I mean, client load, we're still a boutique agency. Like I'm not running, hundreds of accounts yet. Maybe at some point I will. At this point, we're in the nice, say 20 to 30 account range, probably closer to 25. As far as people I've helped,
Yeah.
a lot. I got where I am today just by being helpful. Honestly, so as an ad agent, it might sound kind of funny. Paid marketing for our services. My marketing strategy, as far as getting new clients, literally my goal, I set for myself the last couple of days is help somebody every single day. So my goal, say something nice, do something nice, give somebody a piece of advice, no matter how big or small. That's literally how I get clients. It's just by being nice, and maybe a couple of them just don't want to deal with it themselves and come to me for service.
Okay, that's good. Um, what is the biggest win you got it for clients so far that you can think of on the top of your head? Something like, oh, I remember that we got this RS, or something.
Yeah,
Like,
so I think some of my favorites are the ones where you can get into an account that's like a huge mess and be able, like, those are the painful accounts. Those are the painful, grueling, gotta figure it out accounts, but they're the ones that you learn the most in. I think my favorite scenario that I can point to, and it's not like total account scenario, it's just being able to pinpoint a singular direction. Like those are my favorites. When you can get into account and somebody else is going, what is going on, and you're able to pinpoint it and fix it. Those scenarios are few and far between. Normally it's an accumulation of things. But one of my favorites was I went into an account, we track them daily. I noticed that all of a sudden, like on a pinpointed day, a cost went like it was very like increase, and you're like, oh, what's going on? Was able to deep dive into the account, track those changes to a singular search term, add that as a negative, and it was like a fix within, however long it takes the data to update. Like that was fun. That was like, I figured it out and I fixed it. So those are my favorites, being able to like get in there, figure it out, and use, kind of use all the wizard brain of like, I've seen all these things, and like be able to bring that into the fix. Those are my favorites.
Let's put ourselves. I'm going to try to put myself into a new seller. I'm about to launch my first SKU, my first product, private label. I already have the brand registry. And what would you recommend me to go into before I even reach out to you? What would be some groundwork that I should already have? Maybe budget. What am I looking to do? What do you think?
Yes. So if you're launching a product, you should have done good product sourcing. That's going to be at the heart of picking a good product. So I actually put a post out on LinkedIn not too long ago of, if you're coming into a new account, sometimes it feels like PPC is this weird thing and you can't wrap your hand around it and you don't know where to start. Like, don't discount the work that you've put into product sourcing. Like, you should know your market very well. You should have an idea what your competitors are doing. You probably have an idea of what keywords are kind of like at the top of the market, because you should have done the research to figure out if there's market demand. So you can bring all of that knowledge to your PPC, and in fact, you should. The nuances are like figuring out how to set up campaign structure or what keywords to target, and hopefully I can give you an idea on that. I'm happy to delve into keyword targeting. We just did a couple launches and we're getting good results right out of the gate. But yeah, I would say bring that knowledge, and particularly keyword research, like knowing what keywords are at the top of your market is going to be very helpful. Now, I do want to preface by saying, if you're starting out, you probably don't necessarily want to go after the top market keywords. If you have a very extensive budget and you have money to throw at it, maybe you can start there. I would say at least 50% of the time, probably even less, I don't go after those keywords out of the gate, because I don't expect great performance numbers. I expect to have over 100% ACOS on those numbers. That's just how it's going to shake out. There's not any magic. There's not any special campaign setup that I can set up that you can't. I'm probably a little bit better at bid management. I'm a little bit better at picking keywords, hopefully a lot better. But as far as like how it's actually set up, I don't have any wizardry. I can't make a keyword work for a product any better than you can. It's about picking the right targets and then adjusting, really. That's the secret sauce.
Got it. So work as you go. Okay, yeah, that's what we do as well at here at content creation, share studio. We especially for Amazon Post. So we have a very good client, Dom. Shout out to Dom if you're seeing this. We got 5 viewers. Wow, look at that. First stream, 5 viewers. That's amazing. And yeah, so what we do is we analyze the data I would say the content for the data for the content every 2 weeks, and then we adjust to that. How often do you guys look at the data? Obviously, I understand that you have to let the system take its route and mature, the campaign matures, so you know what you're gonna do. How would you guarantee your customers, or what would you not just guarantee? What would you do for your customers differently that others agencies don't do?
Well, I know a lot of really good people in this space, but I would say, so the breakdown is understanding how often you should make changes. We actually look at the data. We're digging through stuff that doesn't necessarily mean that it really depends on your keywords. You might be getting a couple clicks a day. At that point, if I'm like getting 3 to 5, that's not enough determination for me to say this keyword does or doesn't work for this product. It's just I can't tell. Versus if I'm getting like 50 clicks a day on a particular keyword, I probably can make some micro adjustments. Now, if you're just getting started, or twice a week is perfectly adequate. Don't go any harder than that, I wouldn't say, because what you're going to end up with get it when you launch stuff and your money is being spent and you're not 100% sure what's working or what's not working, it can be terrifying. But like, breathe, recognize that you have to wait for data to accumulate and go in. If you have a very low weekly is going to be adequate as far as changes. Now, you can be neurotic and you can check it daily, but the drawback to checking it daily is you have a tendency to freak out when maybe you should just breathe and wait a second. So if that's the case with you, checking it weekly is going to be fine. Once you're up to, like hundreds of products, thousands of campaigns, like, okay, maybe go check it more frequently. But in the beginning, you hands off as much as possible. It's better than making too many adjustments too quickly.
Yeah, it's like going to the gym. If you weigh yourself every day, like, you won't see the progress that good. Like, wait at least a week, 2 weeks before you actually and do the right diet before you weigh yourself. So I guess hire the right people, have the right campaign, have the right budget, and just wait, let the campaign mature, and go from there and adjust. Let's dive a little bit. Going away, steering away a little bit from the new sellers. Let's go to a seller that already has a budget, already has understanding of PPC, and he's not just wanting to run, the what quote unquote normal PPC. Maybe he wants to do video ads, or brands, sponsor brands. What other types of PPC do you run?
Yeah, so we definitely run all the above. You can use creatives definitely in sponsored brand ads. Sponsored brands probably at this point have some of the most creatives involved, because you can use lifestyle images in your sponsored brand ads. FYI, if you are not running lifestyle images in sponsored brand ads, go in today, fix that, because it literally takes nothing away from the sponsored brand ads. It only adds to the experience. So lifestyle images, like, you can't just put the blank white product image. You basically have to have the product in motion. If you look at the guidelines, that's what they require. But it gives you this big, beautiful, bold graphic at the top of the screen, or down at the bottom of the page. If that's where you end up showing up, you can still show lifestyle images there. I have seen lifestyle images show up on product pages as well. So they basically, again, they just enhance the experience. So you can use the lifestyle images as well as a copy. Video ads are insanely powerful. They allow you to showcase the product in a way impossible before.
I want to dive in a little bit, and I know, I mean, if we can stay literally all day just talking about each of them, so I completely understand. But I want to dive in a little bit more, because everybody thinks that well, not everybody, but I have a lot of, at least, customers that have reached out. It's like, oh, I'll just run the main photo and that's it. Do you suggest, how's the process like? Do you suggest any specific requirements apart from the TOS of Amazon to have a good main image that can outdo or compete against the competition? What's your take?
So it depends on how, because you could get insanely specific with it. It is possible because each individual campaign, you have the ability to add a lifestyle image. So technically speaking, what you could do is you could change out the lifestyle image for a bunch of campaigns. It would be possible. There's no really clean split testing when it comes to sponsor brands, video, or the lifestyle. I've had this talk with multiple other like agency owners, like, how do you guys split test? Because clean split testing, like that's available with the listing, A/B testing, it's not really available. What we've come up, the best way to do it is just run them both simultaneously instead of like turning one on, turning it off. You can end up with like some weird fluctuation, so we just run them simultaneously. You could test that to see like which lifestyle competes the best. Definitely anything that showcases the product and allows the shopper to see themselves using the product is going to be, kind of your best bet. Where you can get kind of granular with it is if you would like, there's the option, you get segment things, running shoe with like having sort of like a running in the shoes versus if you had like sneakers, maybe that's more like a kind of urban wear, streets. You can play with it as well, and then you get a good performance. The more get to what the shopper is looking, and again, having them have that sort of like mental image of them in products. It's a lot of different. If you have the time, if you have the resources to build that out, if it is like your hero product, then it's possible that and the amount of creatives involved in that is going to be worth it for you. If you have your product that sells only a couple of months, 80/20 it maybe. Just don't worry about that one yet. Maybe you get to it when you can. So yes, there's a wealth of things. Like when you really dig into it, like I said, that's the fun thing, is coming up with like strategy. And I'm going to put this tagline because I know that these these shoppers are looking for more of like urban wear versus, they want something that's really comfortable on their, long mile run. Again, you can get as creative as you want with it.
Thank you, Alejandra, for applauding our effort to create the first ever Share Studio podcast. I'm trying playing with this around. That is definitely so many ways that they can take advantage of it. Now, going back a little bit into the lifestyle images for running the PPC. So, what we tell our clients is that there's so many ways to promote it, but there are effective ways and ways that are engaged better. So basically what I tell them all the time is that, listen, this is your digital shelf. If you were in Walmart, you would probably go in and try the product, hold it, you can smell it, open it. There's so many other things you can do with it. Don't taste it, that's lost, but you know what I mean, right? In Amazon, you can only visualize it, and sometimes, I say sometimes because a lot of buyers do not play with audio. This is for videos. 90% of the buyers do not play with audio, actually. So you have to put as much effort in it as possible. So, for example, if we have a sponge, we did a sponge recently. Have the sponge. It's an organic sponge, so have the sponge being squeezed, maybe have the sponge being grabbed. If your target buyer are males, then have a male hand. If your target buyer are females, then have a female hand. If it's a playful item and for kids, have a kid's hand. If it's these type of things that you want to showcase and make that emotional connection with the viewer, because I guess that having those lifestyle images have gotten you a better click-through rate, correct?
Oh, yes. No, absolutely. And actually, something really, really cool that I'm not sure when it will actually be rolled out. We just got notice that actually videos are coming to sponsored display ads. So if you're running DSP, you have the option of running videos and stuff. Now they're going to give it to us inside the traditional sponsored display ads. Now, it's still in beta and it's only in view mode and only in the API. So no one actually technically has access to it yet. It's just there's some literature very deep within the API documentation that you can go take a look at. But Amazon teased out the fact that you can add videos, and some of the creatives that they mentioned were like how-to videos and like unpackaging type videos. So I'm unsure as to like how that's going to like really play out and be put into use. So they do have lifestyle images inside of this sponsored display ads currently, which is pretty cool. The only thing is, if you're using lifestyle images, you're unable to use a logo and that like little headline. So you actually do have to give up something for the lifestyle image, and some of the placements with the lifestyle images, the crops end up being kind of funky, if I'm being honest. So I would say test it and for your own brand, like see what converts better. Either like headline or lifestyle images. That's why I said like sponsored brand ads, you give up nothing to the lifestyle. But that just goes to show that Amazon is getting more and more creative when it comes to that platform. They want the options where board as and all you got was your main image. And now it's all and we're getting more and more options there, which is pretty cool.
So, what steering away a little bit from that, and let's go to the sponsor ads video. What? So, give me your take, your general take on sponsor ads video. What do you think of them? What are some key things they should be doing? They shouldn't be doing? Just give me your insight. But
Yeah, definitely. So sponsor brands video works phenomenally. Typically, you see much higher conversion rates, much higher click-through rates. They work really well. The only drawback really to them, and it's not necessarily a drawback, it's just a nuance of the ad type, is the fact that there is a singular placement available on page 1. They have toyed with like bottom of page placements for page 1. There's placements on page 2. So they are playing with different options. And again, like extending videos to sponsored display ads. I'm assuming you can use, again, I don't know the formats. I don't know what the necessary, kind of like wording and stuff is, sponsored display ads. But you probably, migrate but yeah, so the ad type works great. The only issue in one spot, and the on certain categories. For instance, we had a client who was asking like, oh, hey, why are we not even winning? We want to win page 1 for like the top product on our top keyword. We're like, cool. Tested it. To get that placement, we had to pay $9 a click. If we just bumped it down to like $8.50, like $8.75, we fell off page 1 completely. So I'm not saying that it's not super competitive in all spaces, but it is getting more competitive. In the beginning, you could throw up like the crappiest video. Anyone who's getting scrappy and like just putting out slideshows with some like background music or something was actually getting good results. It was kind of ridiculous. Where at this point, again, it's getting more and more competitive, which necessitates having better and better creatives, like actually putting thought into your creatives. If you're in the beginning, maybe just throw up, but then it really get more and more specifically creative. You're going to, get those quality creatives developed.
okay, that's definitely a good insight. So the steer away. Definitely steer away from the slideshows. I think slideshows already a thing in the past. Guys, reach out to us if you need any help with that. Okay, that's very good insight. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. We're getting a bit close to the 30-minute mark. That's the goal for these type of podcasts. So tell us a little bit more about how we can, reach out to you. Anything else that we should know about? Any helpful insights? Just give us the whole roundup about Jungler.
Yeah, totally. So if you're interested in just like snooping on what I'm seeing with the Amazon ads, definitely follow me on LinkedIn. That's where I put out the most content. Try to make it quality, try to make it actionable. So you can like just kind of connect with me there. If you're interested in working with us, the best place to go is to the website, which is Jungler. See on the screen, JUNGLR, and then it's .com. There is a calendar at the bottom. You can book a call with us, get on our calendar, and we'll go over your ads and see if we can help you out with that. As far as last actionable tips, I would say going forward, the brands that are going to win, because it is getting more competitive. And that's, I think, why you're seeing the rise of people just wanting to know, like, how the heck, like, what do I do with Amazon PPC? It seems like it's this black box and it's really confusing. It doesn't have to be. Sometimes we might complicate things a little bit more than they need to be, as much as I enjoy digging in the weeds myself. But the people long-term who will win are the people who understand their numbers, and not necessarily understanding numbers specifically, but understanding the story that the numbers tell you. And that's kind of where I've been trying to educate a lot more, because I think the more you can kind of understand that, the more you realize like what moves you need to make to move in whatever direction. So the people who recognize the numbers, and then also are okay with playing their game. What I'm finding a lot now is with new brands or even some older legacy brands, they're saying, I have to get here. I have to be ranked on this specific keyword. I have to do this. And looking at PPC to be the one facilitator of that. And while PPC will definitely get you there, oftentimes what happens is like if we'll run on specific spots, the performance just isn't sustainable to continuously run that. And so then the issue is, oh, I can't get good performance here. So what do I do? And the answer is not, again, like I said, there's no like, I can't build a campaign that somebody else hasn't figured out yet.
Yeah.
Like I can build it well and I can maintain very well, but as far as like the actual build, there's not any sort of build that you can make inside of Amazon PPC that is going to make a keyword that doesn't perform for the product. So at that point,
Yes.
it's a listing thing going to you for creatives. Like, what do I need with my listing? How do I fix this? How do I tell my story better? How do I better resonate with that particular shopper? Or maybe recognizing that that is not a place that you can sustainably go after in the market right now.
Yes.
Finding additional targets and working up to there. So that's really how you win the long-term game of PPC, is recognizing what game you can play, what game you can win, and then just digging in there super hard. Again, continuously updating with your listings, your creatives, making sure that you're speaking to your target market. And then you'll, as you gain traction in those spots, you can work your way up to the kind of the big keywords that you fell off on.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. I've had some clients in the past that are like, they tell me we don't do PPC. Full disclaimer, obviously, that's why we have Elizabeth here. We do know a little bit here and there, and some of the clients that we consulted, well, not consulted, just give friendly advice. Is they're telling me exactly like that, like, hey, we're running for this, huge keyword, and they got brands like Colgate running against them. And I'm like.
Yeah, Colgate will lose money all day long through it because you can. So if you give me like thousands of dollars and so much money to run in top of search forever, and you're gonna stay there, like it is possible in some ways to force it. It's just what you're gonna have to lose out on profits. Maybe for a very extended period of time, may not be something that you can sustain. And there's no shame in admitting it. And in fact, that's how you're going to win, is admitting that. And then saying, all right, so this doesn't work for the product currently. Maybe we need to fix this. Let's go figure out where we can win.
Yeah, 100%. Another thing that, what would you, do you have customers that have, incredibly traffic, thanks to PPC, but are not converting that well?
So we've tried that. I mean, it's something, so you don't know until you test it. So we've had products where we're like, okay, so we really need to rank for these keywords, and we run it for a little bit. We're like, we have the conversation. To me, it's an ongoing conversation. If the client says, cool, I'm perfectly fine with these metrics. We've done that before where it's like, okay, we're going to run at these. We realize it's going to be aggressive. We realize that the A cost is going to be over XYZ. So how do we determine if this is, quote, working? We determine it's working if we see keyword rankings and we see a better performance in like the organic to ad orders ratio, and we see better performance with total A cost numbers. If we can see at least a continuous, betterment of those metrics, we're perfectly fine losing out on just the ad section. And so we run it, and then we track over a couple period of weeks. Do we see traction on these levels? Yes or no? Adjust accordingly. So it's just being able to, again, but more have like a realistic expectation of what it will take to run on those keywords.
My last question would be, do you have any preferences for the, I would say, category that you run PPC for, or like, hey, like, like these, I would really recommend, or I don't know, something. Do you specialize in a category or something like that? Is that a thing?
It can be a thing. So I'm the owner of the agency. I can pick and choose which clients I feel like bringing on and feel like dealing with. That's an option for me. As of right now, I don't. I feel like every category definitely has its nuances. So if you're comfortable with discovering those nuances, that's fine. You can basically do whatever, which is what we do. We have everyone from like supplements to baby goods. Again, supplements is not my favorite. I'll be honest, it's my favorite. And that's mostly because you have to be fine with probably sustaining specific losses for a time just for long-term gains. You have to do things like looking at like your subscribe and save numbers. Like those will play into like your total order numbers and looking at things in a different way. But again, it's being able to tell the story with the numbers and recognizing like these are the metrics we need to track to see if there's betterment of performance. Supplements is hard because competition is fierce and cost per clicks are insane. So to test keywords takes a lot of resources, which is fine if you like to. Again, not my favorite thing to do. I have people on my team who are like, that's my favorite. I love those niches. And I'm like, great, you go do that. You can take care of it. I know how to run it. It's just, if I'm giving a preference, it's not mine. We also have clothing. Clothing is insane just due to the amount of SKUs. Like multidimensional, you're looking at color changes plus size changes. The amount of SKUs on a particular listing is insane. Most times, like, stock is fluctuating all the time. It's all this back and forth. Again, that has its own nuances and things that you need to look at. So we've pretty much run the gamut. And at this point, I'm fine with most. As long as the product's good, I can figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, that's so true. A good product is a must. A good listing is a must as well, especially with competition.
Yeah.
It's not getting easier, and it shouldn't be because just the platform is just growing and growing and growing. And after COVID, the growth was exponential. Amazon grew 44.1.9%. This is Amazon's data. Yeah. So, and then it grew the year after, which was, people were not expecting to grow that much. It grew 9%, apart from the 44% that it grew on top of that. So that's just like, wow, it's growing like super, super fast. That's why you have so many sellers now on it. And you need, people who are specialized in company, who are specialized like Elizabeth, to help you run the PPC and get you to the right customers. Because if you have the best product, but you're not getting seen, like, what good is your product going to be in the hands of the consumer, right? But do you want to add anything, Elizabeth? We're already at a 32-minute mark.
Hopefully I gave out some good insights. Again, like if you feel like looking us up, LinkedIn is where to pick my brain on stuff. And if you want to give us, check us out, jungler.com. It's where you go to see if you can work with us.
I put it right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Okay. Just in case.
I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This was our first podcast. We will have Elizabeth hopefully down the road again, where we are like fully optimized. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for being the first one. Hopefully this will be the first one of many podcasts. I was on a podcast feature a little bit ago, like a week ago. It's their number 200. So I was like, wow,
Very
200
nice.
podcasts. Imagine doing this 200 times. That's insane. But yeah, hopefully we'll get there. Steady wins the pace, right? That's the saying. That's how the saying. Yeah,
I think so. Something like that. Close enough.
So hopefully we'll get there. If anybody has a question, please, if you watch this later, please leave it down in the comments. Reach out to Elizabeth, reach out to myself, and we'll be more than happy to help you. And thank you so much for watching this. Till next time.
Thanks so much.
Bye, Elizabeth. Remember to subscribe, everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Ciao, Elizabeth.
Bye.
And